Live. Hi, and welcome to the YouTube Live presentation entitled Intervenor and Intervenor Services in Ontario. And this is for the Community of Practice on Deafblindness. My name is Michelle James, and I am the Manager of Client Innovation and Development at Deafblind Ontario Services. I'm also a member of the Community of Practice on Deafblindness. As part of the Community of Practice on Deafblindness collaborative initiatives activities, I'm pleased to be sharing with you a presentation today about Deafblind Ontario Services and Intervenor Services in the province of Ontario. I'll be sharing information about Deafblind Ontario Services, including our service model, as well as the history and development in Intervenor Services in the province of Ontario, and the transformation that has happened with that as a profession. And there will be an opportunity at the end for any questions. So deafblindness is a combined loss of hearing and vision to such an extent that neither the hearing nor vision can be used as a means of accessing information to participate and be included in the community. Acquired deafblindness is a description applied to people who experience both vision and hearing loss later in life. Losses may occur at separate times or may occur simultaneously. They may also be progressive. Congenital deafblindness is a description applied to people who are born with both hearing and visual loss or who become deafblind before developing symbolic language. Individuals who are deafblind are not a homogeneous group. They have both a hearing and a vision impairment that is severe enough to affect communication, mobility, and access to information and their environment. The number of individuals who are deafblind in Ontario is 147,736. This number is based on prevalence estimates of approximately 1%, which is the average number based on all age groups, using the Census 2016 population data. And the number of individuals who are deafblind in Quebec is 75,433. And this number is also based on the prevalence estimates of 1%, which is the average number based on all age groups, using the 2016 census population data. The number of individuals who are deafblind in Canada is 368,412. And this number is based on prevalence estimates of 1%, using the Census 2016 population data, so the same information as the previous two numbers. However, according to Canadian Institute for Health Information, data over 3 years, so 2014 to 2017, that number increases significantly to 22% of seniors across Ontario in home care and long-term care, with reports of seniors experiencing vision and hearing loss combined. And our estimates confirm that the number of 22% for combined vision and hearing losses in seniors is consistent across Canada. Deafblind Ontario Services is a not-for-profit organization that helps individuals who are deafblind to increase their independence and improve their quality of life through specialized services. In 1989, a group of motivated parents lobbied the Ontario government as advocates for their deafblind children in an attempt to secure funding for community-based supported living programs. On October 6th of 1989, Deafblind Ontario Services was incorporated as a not-for-profit organization. Initially, there were 3 homes housing 3 individuals with congenital or early adventitious deafblindness in each of those locations. Now, with residential locations and community services programs across the province, our reach extends into a wide range of communities within Ontario. The initial 3 locations that the organization had were within a similar geographic area. Deafblind Ontario Services takes a holistic approach to providing intervenor services that are customized to each client's unique needs, desires, and goals to increase their independence and enrich their life. Unfortunately, I was not able to get the sound on the videos to work. I will still show the videos, and they do have closed captions, but I do apologize for the lack of sound. The videos can be found on our YouTube channel, so please, I encourage you to go back to our YouTube channel after and watch the videos with the sound. I just need to fast forward the video a little bit here and get it to the point in which I'd like to show you. And again, I do apologize for the lack of sound, but I do encourage you to go back. Perfect. So Deafblind Ontario Services mission is to support individuals who are deafblind to live and thrive within the community by enriching those lives one touch at a time. Deafblind Ontario Services currently supports over 75 individuals in residential locations and apartment programs, as well as through our community services across the province of Ontario. There are residential locations in Durham, Peterborough, Middlesex, Oxford, Ottawa, Simcoe County, Sudbury, Tri-Cities, as well as York Region. Community services includes Community Services Bridge, Community Services Partnerships, Community Services Sensory Exploration Arts, as well as Community Services Tremplin. More information about our community services programs will be covered later in the presentation. This is a map of Ontario indicating where our residential locations are. Those are the little houses on the map. Our community services bridge is the little bubble, and this is where we've taught or offered other training to different groups and organizations, as well as the final indicator on the map is the community services partnerships, and this is where we've collaborated with other agencies to provide intervenor services to someone who is deafblind. So as you can see on the map, we are across the entire province, very far southwest to east to the Ottawa area, as well as north to northwest to Fort Frances, as well as northeast to Iroquois Falls. So we very much are prevalent within the province of Ontario. Due to the generosity of different donors, Deafblind Ontario Services has one snoozelen room in 5 of our regions for the clients to enjoy. And a snoozelen room is a non-threatening environment which is designed to give those with developmental disabilities and sensory impairments a multi-sensory experience. And the activities within a snoozelen room are customized specifically for that particular individual who's utilizing the space. And each time the individual is in the room, it could be a different experience for them. And as you can see in the picture, there are many different items available for a multi-sensory experience. These photos are from a few of our different snoozelen rooms. And again, you can see there are different, there's different equipment in each one of those pictures. And there is an individual in the final picture hanging on the leaf chair, so completely suspended in air. And as mentioned, we do have one of those in each of our 5 regions. And Deafblind Ontario Services provides an opportunity for clients to go on a sensory excursion. A sensory excursion is a trip taken by an individual who is deafblind for leisure and educational purposes. It is based on their dreams, and it provides an opportunity for diversity and enhanced sensory experiences within their lives. Sensory excursions focus on experiences that stimulates the client's senses and are based on the results of their goals, the client's wants, their needs, their desires, past history, and any past experiences that they have had. And there's a picture there of an individual who is on her way to her sensory excursion and giving a thumbs up that she's having a great time. Sensory excursions focus on what stimulates the individual's senses. The results, as I mentioned, of their multidisciplinary program team meeting and their internal review meeting, the individual's wants, needs, desires, and the person's various assessments that they may have had, which could be a sensory assessment, it could be an environmental assessment, it could be from an orientation and mobility assessment, or again, any other type of assessment that the person may have had, and as well their past history and experiences. The sensory excursion can range from anywhere from an 8-hour day to as long as a 4-day time frame. There is particular criteria that needs to be met in order for the individual to have the opportunity to go on a sensory excursion. Once it has been decided that the individual is interested in going on a sensory excursion, prior to them going, the activities that they'll be participating in need to be decided to ensure that during the trip, they have to fit within a minimum of 3 domains, a minimum of, there needs to be differences within each of those activities that they're attending. And different senses, so whether they be vestibular, visual, auditory as well, and that there needs to be a minimum of 2 sensory focused activities per day. Again, so then that individual can have the greatest experience that's possible while they're on their sensory excursion. An anticipation tool will be created as well, and various forms must be completed. So there's funding forms, there's different staffing forms, as well as a specific itinerary needs to be completed, as well as a variety of different checklists in order to make sure everything, it will happen the way that it's intended to happen. And then while that individual is on their sensory excursion, they are asked to collect items that they will then make into an experience tool upon their return from their trip. An experience tool is an opportunity for communication, as well as an opportunity for them to remember their trip after the fact. And all of the certain portions of the activities that the individual goes on will be documented. So whether that be visual, so pictures, there could be video, as well as the interveners who go on the sensory excursion with the individual is also required to write notes and write information about those activities and the client's responses to those activities for others to be able to read, and as well as for the other interveners within their internal team to be able to have conversations with the individuals about their experience or about their sensory excursion. And then once their sensory excursion is completed and they are back home, those items that they've collected for their experience tool will be created with the individual as well as with the interveners who attended the sensory excursion with them. There will be a small write-up that will be written by the client or by the individual if that's possible, as well as by and with the interveners that will go into the Deafblind Ontario Services newsletter, just documenting some of the experiences that they had and how that made them feel, and anything else that individual would like to share about that experience with them. And as well as there will be an evaluation completed to build on the next sensory excursion, and any and all documentation pertaining to that sensory excursion is uploaded onto Deafblind Ontario Services electronic client files. So all of that information that I just shared will be saved and will be kept for future sensory excursions, whether it be for that individual or for future sensory excursion ideas. That information is kept for future use. So moving on now to supported vocational placements. So a few individuals throughout the province were volunteering at various businesses within their specific area of the province and where they lived. The benefits of volunteering were obvious, so Deafblind Ontario Services reached out to the 2015 class of leadership at the University of Waterloo. Deafblind Ontario Services was seeking a formal structure, a marketing plan, and a contact list for placements of clients for volunteer and/or employment opportunities. The goal of this partnership, or the goal of this, was to increase the number of clients with a meaningful placement, which in turn would increase the number of community partners. We wanted a greater awareness of the supported vocational placement program as a whole, which would emphasize the value of the program to new partnerships or new community partners who are out there who may not know about us and may not know about our supported vocational placement. So the class of Leadership Waterloo region, they compiled a report for Deafblind Ontario Services, which included an overview of Deafblind Ontario Services. It included the objective, which was seeking formal structure for retaining or keeping volunteer placements. There was a situational analysis, which incorporated Deafblind Ontario Services strategic objectives, as well as there was a SWOT analysis with your strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. It included a volunteer placement overview, identifying goals, skills, strengths, interests, in order to prepare the client and to prepare the supported vocational placement, as well as it included a marketing plan, which included targeted audiences, as well as building awareness of the program. And a pilot happened with 2 clients who went through this new process, and they were both successful in securing a meaningful placement after this process had happened. Again, I do apologize for this next video not having any sound. I, again, encourage you to watch it afterwards, but I will be showing a short video on supported volunteer placements. And that was a gentleman who was at his supported vocational placement. As you see, he was there with his intervenor, and there always is an intervenor with that individual when they are at their supported volunteer placement. Community inclusion through volunteer or paid employment is a natural goal for everyone, including people who are deafblind. Individuals who are deafblind are, again, 100% supported in their volunteer placement to ensure success for both the individual as well as for the business. Currently, today, there are 22 Deafblind Ontario Services clients who have a supported vocational placement. So in 2015, when we had the revamp of the program, there was 2 individuals who went through the new process. And now, since that new process, there are now currently 22 individuals who have a supported volunteer placement. Deafblind Ontario Services has a community services division of the organization. It is divided into 4 different programs that are offered. There's Community Services Bridge, Community Services Partnerships, Community Services Sensory Exploration Arts, as well as Community Services Tremplin. Community Services Bridge offers customized training opportunities for organizations that support individuals with a sensory loss and/or communication challenge. Community Services Bridge can enhance the services of developmental services agencies, long-term care facilities, in-home support services, and other community organizations. And the bridge training is offered to strengthen an organization's services while focusing on the unique needs of the individuals they support. Again, I do apologize for the lack of sound, but I do feel that this is an important. Great. So the Community Services Partnership Program, it offers specialized expertise and services to individuals who are deafblind through their supporting agency. Every partnership is uniquely designed to ensure the needs of each individual are met in collaboration with the supporting organization. Each partnership begins with an assessment of the needs of the individual and a discussion about how intervenor services can benefit the individual and augment the services they already receive. A custom program is then developed, and there is specialized training for the partnering agency staff, and ongoing mentorship and coaching is provided. The training is supported by Deafblind Ontario Services Touch Training Program, which covers various topics, and I will go into further detail about our touch training later on. Partnering agencies engage in interactive, customized training that again focuses on the communication needs of the individual that they support. Mentorship is a cornerstone of the Community Services Partnership Program. So after the training is complete, the Community Services team continues to follow up and provide guidance to the supporting team by sharing advice, knowledge, and experience to ensure the ongoing success of that particular individual's program. The gentleman in these photos, his name is David, and David is a client with the Community Services Partnership Program. And David lives in a small Northern Ontario town and is supported by Superior Greenstone Association for Community Living. The Community Services Partnerships Program provides David with access to qualified intervenor services so he may become more independent in his community. And one of David's goals was to learn how to swim. Through the assistance of his intervenors, David began visiting his local pool on a regular basis to practice swimming techniques. David's intervenors swam with him to guide him and encourage him through the process of learning how to swim independently. Eventually graduating to swimming with the assistance of a flotation belt, and finally to swimming independently. David was able to achieve his goal. David swims a lap of the pool independently and without a flotation device. Through our person-centered approach, the Community Services team focused on David's goals and worked with him and his intervenors to develop an action plan. Through this action plan, David was able to achieve one of his lifelong goals. I'm going to show you one more video, and I again do apologize for the lack of sound.
One of our unique community service programs is sensory exploration.
So Deafblind Ontario Services, Community Services Exploration Arts, or C for short, as Kelly mentioned. The program was created in 2010 to promote and foster artistic expression among individuals with sensory impairments in a visual arts program. The initial concept of this particular program began after Deafblind Ontario Services employees visited Sense Scotland in 2008 and observed the benefits and opportunities of their arts and well-being program. Participants of C include clients of Deafblind Ontario Services, as well as other community agencies supporting individuals with physical, cognitive, or sensory impairments, and that was mentioned on the video. And the C program is a fee-for-service program. The program provides not only a meaningful outlet for artistic expression, it provides a tool for communication and connection to the world. Artists explore and experience many themes through their senses, and they are given the opportunity to express their responses to these sensory experiences through visual arts, music, dance, and drama without any direction. Our final community services program is Community Service Tremplin. Deafblind Ontario Services recognize the need for a different type of program designed for the needs of individuals who are deafblind and francophone and the desires of their particular families. This program is called the Community Services Tremplin program, and our Tremplin program began in 2012. Community Services Tremplin is a blend of our current residential program and our Community Services Partnerships program, which will allow for each of the participants to return to their family home on a nightly basis, while still providing the family with predetermined respite supported throughout the year. And the Tremplin program maintains our highly recognized program model, focusing on community involvement. Throughout a few of the slides, I've mentioned Deafblind Ontario Services program model. Well, in 2005, Deafblind Ontario Services embarked on an extensive undertaking of its service delivery model to ensure the highest standard in service quality and delivery to the people that we serve. The development of the project began at a committee level, which meant reevaluating whether the service model that was currently in place met the unique needs for adult clients. There was research that was conducted and different pilots that were done and to determine the framework for the program module. And after 22 months, the new program was launched on July 1st of 2006, organization-wide. In August of 2007, a program module review committee was conceived to evaluate, provide recommendations, and revise components pertaining to the structure as well as the facilitation of the program model to maintain quality of service. To this date, the program module review committee still reviews and revises any necessary facets of the program module. Deafblind Ontario Services service model builds upon the concept of individualized programming and is a true reflection of the client needs and desires, because each client has a multidisciplinary program team who is involved in the goal-making process. And hence, the service model ensures a person-centered approach to goal setting. Focusing on the fundamentals ensures Deafblind Ontario Services programs open the door to additional opportunities for imagination. So it's encouraging clients to dream and imagine all different possibilities. It opens the door for intervention. So having specially trained professional interveners to support the clients and to make it happen. As well, it opens the door to additional independence. So imagination and intervener services then encourages the client to reach their fullest potential as they move toward greater independence. The framework of the program module includes 3 different components. There's the client program portfolio, which ensures the development of the individualized programming for each of the clients involved. Service tracking of client program plans. So this is their goals. This tracks the service being provided, ensuring that the activities and programs enhance the quality of life for the client and gives evidence of these services to different funding agencies. And last is service evaluation, which includes internal audits. And they are completed, which indicate whether program requirements are met and provides statistical data to the organization. And this allows for future recommendations on the service model, and it ensures that the highest level of service is provided and reinforces our mission, our vision, as well as our values. Person-centered plans are developed using a multidisciplinary planning team meeting, which I mentioned earlier. The client's internal team, the client's family and friends, any different type of advocates, community resources, professionals and medical professionals when possible. All of these individuals are invited to the MDPT process, so the multidisciplinary planning team process or meeting. You will see in the picture, the meetings are very personal. The individual on the left enjoys flying, enjoys airplanes. And so they made her a plane with some special goggles, as you can see on her head as well. So then she could be a part of her meeting, as this is one of her greatest likes. And the picture on the right is a gentleman who enjoys the feel of wind and who enjoys the parachute, being on top of him and coming below. And so his internal team are those around holding the parachute. And that is his way of being involved in that meeting, and that meeting then being all about that particular individual. The MTPT is held every 18 months or earlier if significant life changes occur in the client's life. And it then requires a review of the client program plans if the meeting happens before the 18-month mark. An internal review is held every 8 months after the development date of the client program plan. So the client program plan is written from the minutes and from the information gathered at the MDPT process or at the MDPT meeting. There's a final internal review, and that is held at the 16-month time frame from the development of those plans. So every 18 months, a meeting happens. An internal review happens at 8 months, and then a final IR or internal review happens at 16 months, and then a few months later, another MTPT or the MTPT process starts over again for that individual. And the internal review determines whether the outcomes or the indicators are continuing to meet the current abilities and needs of the client, and it ensures that resources are available to aid in the success of the client program plans. If there's any barriers that are inhibiting the success of the plans, then it allows for both the client and the internal team to brainstorm possible solutions to overcome the barrier that may be in place. And then finally, an internal review is necessary to evaluate the effectiveness of that program. And in doing so, it also establishes accountability for the organization as well. And a person-centered approach goal tool is used to develop strategies based on the client's desired preferences, strengths, and needs. And this picture is the person-centered approach tool that is used during the MDPT meeting process. So this is the goal tool that is used to help form goals based on all the information and ideas that are obtained from the client and others who are in attendance of that meeting. So as you can see, the circle consists of a core, 4 layers, and there's 24 keywords within that goal tool. So the core is the client, and their name is placed in the inner circle to emphasize that the focus is on the client. The first layer, and you'll see there's a number 1, consists of keywords. So there's likes, strengths and abilities, choices, people, places, worries, fears, as well as the word dislikes. Information is gathered for all of these keywords to help determine who is the person. The past and the present are discussed for each of those keywords, and maybe the individual used to like something that they don't like anymore, or they used to do something that they no longer do, this is an opportunity to find out maybe why they don't do it anymore, or why it is that they don't like that activity or person anymore. And the second layer consists of keywords, or of the keyword dreams. So what does the person want, or what does that particular client want? Maybe there's something in the future that the client may want to participate in, or something that they may like to do in the future. Those ideas that are then put forward into the future section, which then may turn into a particular goal for that individual. And then the third layer consists of the domains of the client's life. So there's recreation and leisure, which is social relationships or sensory. There's community, which includes vocational or community outings. There's development, so learning, living environment, activities of daily living, communication, as well as there's enhancing coping skills and health. And again, asking the questions of who is this person and what is it that they enjoy doing. You will see then the fourth layer consists of goals. So this is where we as a team, the third layer, what is listed as number 3, this is where you look at different resources, different supports, different barriers, and you come up as a team with an action plan for this particular client to then be successful, and all of the different things that have been decided with that client on what they would like to do for the next 18 months. And these are the questions, this is where you ask yourselves, how are we going to help that client achieve those goals and achieve those things that they would like to do? This is where an opportunity for a sensory excursion idea may come up. The client or the team may decide that this is something that is of interest to that individual. And so they would have to go through that process that I described earlier, to apply to be able to go on that sensory excursion. This is where that goal may come from. And this is where, this is what is looked at during the internal review to find out if there's any barriers that are stopping or inhibiting that individual to be successful with the activities or the goals that were chosen for that individual during this MDPT process. So each of the clients has a client program portfolio, and this is a section in the program module that contains detailed information about that individual and about various tools to assess, to monitor, to plan, and to review the client's activities, their progress, again, their goals, their achievements, as well as maybe some challenges that may be occurring with that individual or with certain activities that they may be involved in. And each individual has their own client program portfolio with their own specific information contained within that. And that information is both online on our shared, on our own electronic program, as well as that information is contained within the location that they live in. The training of interveners has always been a priority at Deafblind Ontario Services. Deafblind Ontario Services has developed a unique comprehensive training program called TOUCH, which is training, ongoing, unique, committed, and holistic. And it trains our interveners on the many techniques used to communicate with individuals who are deafblind. This training has strengthened the competencies of those who touch the individuals who are deafblind. TOUCH training was designed and implemented in 2006 and has only had minor revisions since its initial implementation. In 2009, TOUCH revisions were completed, although I said only a few, but in 2009 was a significant change. And those were completed to include 2 levels of training, as opposed to the other format that was before 2009. A participant guide for those attending the TOUCH training, as well as it incorporated a total communication curriculum, or TCC for short, And each of those, there's 2 different levels of touch as well as 2 different levels of TCC. And each level, so the second level, builds upon consistent components from the first level. So the interveners will learn information in the first level, and then further information based on that will be taught in our Touch 2 program. Every intervener within Deafblind Ontario Services is required to take the touch training, and that's no matter what capacity they are within the organization, as long as they are in an intervener role. So whether they're a full-time intervener or a part-time relief intervener, casual intervener, or anything in between, they are required to take that course. The only exception is if the employee is a graduate of the George Brown Intervenor for Deafblind Persons program. There are a variety of different components of touch, as you can see on the screen. Some of them are knowledge of deafblindness and its impacts on learning and development, knowledge of the intervention process, the role of the intervener, and the ability to facilitate that process, the knowledge of communication and knowledge of Deafblind Ontario Services service model, so its program module, which we spoke just briefly about, are a few of the different topics or components that are discussed during Touch. And again, Touch 2 just goes into a little bit more detail and depth of those different topics. Since every individual who's deafblind has a varying degree of sensory loss, they will have their own unique individual way of communicating. This could be with a smartphone, a tablet, computers, various forms of sign language, could be Braille, could be large print, could be cues, it could be a variety of different formats. And because of this, there is a communication portion to Touch, which is called Total Communication Curriculum, or TCC for short. This curriculum is combined with the Touch training, as mentioned earlier. And this is an opportunity for the interveners to learn about communication and to understand the role of a communication partner with the individual with deafblindness. Graduates of the George Brown College Intervenor for Deafblind Persons program are exempt from taking Touch, as mentioned earlier, but they must complete both level 1 and level 2 TCC tests to ensure that they have an understanding of the importance of the communication. But they are not required to attend the actual classes. They are only required to take the test to ensure they have a great understanding. And George Brown College actually is the only college in Ontario that offers the Intervenor for Deafblind Persons program. And the Intervenor for Deafblind Persons program is a 2-year diploma program from George Brown College. And again, Deafblind Ontario Services realized that there is not a lot of opportunity for knowledge of an intervenor or for training to become an intervenor. And so that is why we developed our Touch training. And again, that incorporated the TCC component to that. Again, knowing that there's not a lot of graduates from that program, but also knowing and understanding that not all of those graduates from that program will come to work for Deafblind Ontario Services. The George Brown program is in Toronto, downtown Toronto. And so again, Deafblind Ontario Services understood that with us being a provincial organization, not everyone would be working for us. And so again, Touch and TCC were created to ensure that the interveners who work with the individuals with deafblindness within Deafblind Ontario Services are fully trained and have a proper understanding of what they need to. So next we'll talk a little bit about different calendar systems, and you can see there are a variety of different pictures on the page. So a calendar system is a concrete means of illustrating what is going to be happening in the person's day, their month, their week. It is a tool used to allow the person with a sensory loss and a communication need to anticipate and communicate expressively. Calendar systems include a collection of concrete objects, symbols, pictures that symbolize an activity, or they may also symbolize a sequence of activities. These are called cues. Calendar systems are used to develop communication skills, so both receptively as well as expressively, and they provide security and emotional support to that individual with deafblindness. They provide structure and organization. It's a way to develop comprehension of the beginning and the end of a task. It builds memory skills for the individual with deafblindness. It teaches time as well as how to manage time and time concepts. It teaches time vocabulary, and it also provides an opportunity for concept development. As mentioned earlier, cues can be a concrete object, they can be tactile, they can be pictorial, or they can be physical, and those are all used as part of the total communication approach. And cues are used in conjunction with sign or speech and gestures, and can be used with calendar systems to represent different activities or people or persons. Again, there are multiple pictures on the screen, and you can see that there are different calendar systems. The top right, or the top left, sorry, is an individual who is looking at her calendar, which is picture-based. The middle picture underneath the words calendar system is an individual who uses a daily planner who will then write in what she will be doing for that particular day. The picture on the top right is also picture-based. You can't see the picture, but that individual is looking at the picture on that piece of paper. The bottom left is what is called a now and finished box. The reverse, but it's a now and finished box. And so that would have concrete or tactile cues within it. So then the individual could feel what activity they will be doing now. And then upon their return of that activity, they would put it in the finished box. And you will see each of those boxes feel different. Each of those boxes look different. And again, they would put that tactile or object or cue from one box to the finished box once they're completed that particular activity. The middle picture on the bottom is an individual's calendar, so it's resting on the dresser, and there's three boxes, and there's three boxes because the first box on the left is the morning, the middle box is what he's doing in the afternoon, and the end box on the right is what that individual would be doing in the evening. And so there would be a different object or different tactile cue, as you can see, in each one of those boxes to signify what activity that person will be doing. And the dresser or furniture that the person's calendar is on is where all of those cues are then stored for that individual with deafblindness to then be able to get those cues out of there, and or for the intervener to get those cues out of there to be used then as a mode of communication. And the picture on the bottom right is a picture of an individual who is using his tablet as his mode of communication. So he will type on his tablet, to have conversations and to have communication with his intervener. I will just show you again another video. Unfortunately, there's no sound again. I do apologize for that.
One of the most important communication tools for individuals with deafblindness.
All right, so with the implementation of Touch, Deafblind Ontario Services continues to support the provision of a consistent delivery of training towards meeting a professional standard in the field of congenital deafblindness. It was the objective of meeting a professional standard in service and believing in the profession of intervenor services that led to investigating alternatives to support this objective. Over a 2-year period, an internal committee investigated a professional certification process for Deafblind Ontario Services employees who have successfully taken the internal training as well as who have met additional standards. The Canadian Council of Professional Certification, so CCPC Global, is the recognized certifying body. The certified designations, so Certified Congenital Deafblind Specialists, CCDBS, 1 as well as CCDBS 2 are professional designations. Certification provides recognition of the accomplishments of professionals who have reached a higher level of expertise. The professional certification received from CCPC highlights skills, the amount of practical hours, knowledge, and improving them both effective and efficient in specialized roles, as well as the certification focuses on the above standards in the field of congenital deafblindness specifically. The Certified Congenital Deafblindness Specialist certification is directed at employees with the designated training, as mentioned earlier, or those who have graduated with a diploma focused in the field of congenital deafblindness and intervenor services practice. In conjunction with the required touch levels, practical work hours in accordance with each level. So you need different hours based on which level. So whether you're CCDBS level 1 or CCDBS level 2, you need a different amount of hours based on those, as well as a full membership in a designated professional organization. So you need a professional designation, you need a certain amount of hours, as well as you need to have your required touch training or different training throughout the years in order to qualify to then have your CCDBS. And each year, employees must renew their CCDBS specialist certification. And renewal is an essential component of CCPC's certification framework. And the objective of the renewal requirement is to ensure that individuals certified with CCPC participate in ongoing professional development activities in order to maintain their skills and in order to ensure that they are up to date, as well as they still require a certain amount of hours, as well as the individuals, the employees still require a designated professional membership within an organization that is deafblind specific. Deafblind Ontario Services participates and facilitates research by networking with universities, colleges, community partners, and other national and international research networks that focus on improving the quality of life for individuals with deafblindness and dual sensory loss. Objectives of the research is to provide leadership for research, advocacy, and solutions to improve the quality of life for Canadians affected by deafblindness. Deafblind Ontario Services strives for equal opportunity and access for all and effective holistic programs for services for its clients. Deafblind Ontario Services wants to foster academic and community collaborations, whether that be nationally or internationally, to encourage the work of both the prominent and aspiring researchers and involvement of individuals with deafblindness or dual sensory loss. And participating in research allows for an opportunity for knowledge exchange, to keep on top of developments so that we can be a point of contact for up-to-date, relevant research into the experiences of people who are deafblind and share that with different stakeholders. In 2013, Deafblind Ontario Services conducted a complete review of all of its homes for both sensory as well as physical accessibility. And that resulted in developing our own accessibility standard guide. You can download a free copy of the accessibility guide on our website. I do have the link below, but our website is also www.deafblindontario.com. The accessibility guide has lots of different tips within it There's different guidelines, different, if you're looking for how big something should be or how much space you need, in between something for accessibility purposes, you will find that information there. As well as there are many do-it-yourself options in the guide, as well as not everyone maybe can afford to have a contractor or needs to have a contractor. There are some do-it-yourself options within the guide. True to our vision of being a leader in the field of deafblindness, Deafblind Ontario Services was the first Ontario organization, providing intervenor services to be accredited in 2012. And we were the first to be reaccredited in 2016. We are now working towards our third accreditation in 2020, which, if achieved, will give us the seal of sustainability with Focus, and Focus is the accrediting body. Deafblind Ontario Services chose to be accredited as a demonstration of accountability and as a way of having independent validation of the quality of services that we provide. Deafblind Ontario Services is also a nonprofit employer of choice organization in both 2015 as well as in 2016. And the Nonprofit Employer of Choice Awards recognize organizations whose people leadership and vision has translated into exemplary talent management practices. And we are very proud as an organization to have accomplished all of those. So intervenors are specially trained professionals who act as the eyes and the ears of the individual who is deafblind through the sense of touch. The intervenor is a communication partner, and they act as the bridge between the person who is deafblind and the world through a total communication approach. And the philosophy of Deafblind Ontario Services intervenors is do with, not for. And the intervenors work with the individuals who are deafblind, helping them learn through experience, empowering them to make informed decisions, and to be active participants in all areas of their lives. And Deafblind Ontario Services employs approximately 200 intervenors, and there are roughly over 500 intervenors in the province of Ontario. As an intervenor facilitates the interaction of the person who is deafblind with other people and the environment. They provide information about the environment and what is happening. Again, assists the individual who is deafblind to communicate, provides or develops concepts where necessary with the individual. The intervenor confirms actions, they assist with life skills, and most importantly, they assist the individual to achieve as much independence as possible within their particular situation. And the intervenor takes complete direction from the individual who is deafblind. So moving on a little bit more now about intervenor services within the province of Ontario. So the Intervenor Services Human Resource Strategy, or ISHRS, was a partnership between the Ministry of Children, Community and Social Services, which is a division or part of the Ontario government, and 20 transfer payment agencies who provide intervenor services to individuals with deafblindness. They developed the Intervenor Human Resources Strategy between 2015 and 2018 towards the transformation, again, of intervenor services in Ontario. The key objectives of the ISHRS was for increased recruitment of intervenors, improved onboarding process for intervenors, improved access to professional development and training opportunities, improved access to appropriate educational programs and certificates for people interested in training as intervenors, enhanced retention of highly qualified intervenors, and stronger partnerships among key organizations, including organizations, different colleges, agencies, as well as different ministries within the government. All right. The Intervenor Code of Ethics, there was an Intervenor Code of Ethics and there continues to be an Intervenor Code of Ethics. It was reviewed as part of the ISHRS in 2018, as it had not been reviewed for the last 25 years. Intervenor services was very different 25 years ago. The 2018 version of the Code of Ethics applies to all professionals who are fulfilling the role of an intervenor or that of a similar role. So that could be an educational assistant, that could be another person who is providing intervenor services in a different capacity. The Intervenor Code of Ethics reflects many changes within the field of deafblindness and intervenor services. There is now a connection between the Intervenor Code of Ethics and the ISHRS competencies. And this includes the right for the individual with deafblindness to fully participate in their community by accessing qualified intervenors that uphold the highest standards of professional integrity, competence, and ethics. The revised code is based on the vision that all individuals who are deafblind have the right to fully access all information and communication clearly without any bias. And as you can see on the screen, there are different components of the code, as well as the intervenor website is listed below as well. In the final year of the ISHRS collaborated with the Ministry of Children and Community Social Services and intervenor services agencies concerning a plan for sustainability. As of April of 2018, the work and leadership of the ISHRS is sustained through existing networks and partnerships, including the Deafblind Network of Ontario, or DBNO. A subcommittee of the DBNO was formed to ensure that all of this work is kept at the forefront. You can see the Deafblind Network of Ontario's website is listed on the screen. And today, the Deafblind Network of Ontario is a dynamic group comprised of individuals as well as organizations who work for the improvement of services for all Ontarians who have the dual disability of deafblindness. The DBNO hosts Ontario's single point of access to intervenor services for individuals who are deafblind. The DBNO is working in partnership with the Ministry of Children, Community and Social Services to build this new framework. The DBNO's current work includes the very successful Spirit of Intervenors Training Symposium that brings together intervenors from across Canada and beyond, which is attended by approximately 250 to 300 people when that symposium happens. The DBNO also promotes awareness of the disability of deafblindness by participating in the National Deafblind Awareness Month initiative. Members of the Deafblind of the DBNO are Sensitivity, which is formerly Canadian Deafblind Association Ontario chapter, Canadian Helen Keller Centre, CNIB Deafblind Community Services, Canadian National Society of the Deafblind, Deafblind Ontario Services, Intervenor Organization of Ontario, Lyons McGuinness House, W. Ross McDonald School, as well as Bob Rumble Canadian Centre of Excellence. Those are all members. Deafblind Ontario Services is on a variety of different media platforms. Please like us, follow us, tweet us, subscribe to us, whichever social media format you use. We encourage you to be in association with us. And just wondering if anyone has any questions. I believe there is an opportunity in the bottom that you can write if you have any questions. I'll just wait a few minutes in case there is someone who's writing something. It looks as though no one watching has any questions, so I will just finish the presentation. So I would like to thank you for taking the time today to be a part of the first YouTube Live Community of Practice on Deafblindness event. Please stay tuned for any other activities that will be happening with the Community of Practice on Deafblindness. If you have any further questions or if there's anything pertaining to the presentation today, please don't hesitate to contact me or to contact anyone on the Community of Practice on Deafblindness, as they will be able to get in touch with me. I am a member, as mentioned earlier, so my profile is on the portal as well, but my email address is m.james@deafblindontario.com. Again, for anyone who has any further questions, or if there's anything else that you're interested in knowing about, or some further clarification or further details, please do email me. Again, it's m.james@deafblindontario.com. And again, I would like to thank everyone for your time and taking this afternoon to listen to our presentation. Thank you. Goodbye.